views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Welcome back this week, everybody, to Doing It with Stiles. We appreciate the support that we get for the show and for the station here at WWDB-TV. I thank you for coming every week. I thank you for watching my show and all the other great shows. And as you know, my show is basically highlighting, spotlighting people who do it with style. And today I've got Miss Judi Moreo, who is just an amazing, eclectic woman that has, you're an author, you're an artist, you're a performer, I mean, you have TV shows, but the real focus that you're working on now is the Ultimate Achievement Coach.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean?
Well, I coach people. I basically work as a mentor towards people. You know, people who want to be successful, they hire me to help them figure out how to get where they want to go. So we sit down and we say, okay, what is the goal? What do you want to accomplish in life? And then we make a plan. And then we figure out how to work the plan. And I've had some great success with people that come to me and say, this is what I want to do with my life. Either I want to write a book, or I want to be on stage as a speaker. I'd like to be a professional speaker. Or I want to be in business for myself. I want to be an entrepreneur. And having done all those things myself, and I know you don't know how old I am, but I've been around a long time. And I've done those things, and I've been very successful with those things. And so I try to help people to see what it is that they need to do in order to get where they want to go. And it really works. It's amazing. And so I've been doing coaching now for quite a few years, but it was never my main focus. My main focus was to be a professional speaker.
Right.
I was on stage in 29 countries around the world, as you know, and really had some...
She gets around.
Yeah, God. Yeah, someone said to me once, did you have to sleep around? And I said, boy, did I ever. I slept in buses and trains and airplanes and all kinds of crummy hotels and back rooms and whatever. But yeah, it's been a great life. I've had this incredible life. Like I said, I've spoken in 29 countries around the world. I've met amazing people. And I've been lucky. I've written 14 books. 2 have been international bestsellers. And so now I'm staying home. Well, of course, we're all staying home right now with the pandemic. But I was kind of starting to stay home before this all happened. But I'm staying closer to home, and I'm trying to help other people do the things that they want to do, that they want to accomplish, because actually I'm kind of tired, you know, this running around from country to country, writing books and doing TV shows and
I know it's fun for a while, right?
Oh, well, it was fun for a lot of years,
yeah.
And I loved it, and I still love it. I love doing the TV show. I particularly love doing the interviews, you know, like what you're doing now.
Right, right.
I really love doing that because you find out so much about people.
And you've done some great ones. I mean, I love, we've worked together now for a couple of years, I think, and so I've had the opportunity to see you interviewing some of these people, and
Thank you.
I picked up a lot of, you know, I sit back there behind the camera and the console and everything, and I'm making little notes to myself. Okay, here's a, yeah, so, you know, when you were doing your training sessions and all that stuff, I was a sneaky student back there, so. So I thank you for that, because I know it's helped me. So.
It's been really fun. And, you know, when I wrote my book, I wrote a book entitled You Are More Than Enough. Got to show everybody, because it just came out in paperback. And when I wrote the book, I did an audio book. And I don't know if you remember a fellow by the name of Chuck Wagner. Chuck was a broadcaster here in town. He was even in the Broadcast Hall of Fame. And Chuck did the audio book for me. He recorded it. And one day he said to me, you know, if I'd have known this information 20 years ago, if I'd have had all this stuff I've been hearing you talk about, I'd have been a lot more successful. Now Chuck was super successful. So to have him say that to me, it was really a compliment. But you know what I'm doing? I'm giving away 100 of these books to people right now. People say, why are you giving away the book? You've sold so many of them. Why do you have to give it away? Because there's a lot of young women out there today that I'm seeing on Facebook when I look in the groups I belong to. They're saying, like, I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't feel like I can accomplish what I want. Somebody's been putting me down. I don't like the way people talk to me. I don't know what to say. And I'm thinking, well, I know how to deal with all that. And then I think, well, if I give them a book, and they read it, maybe they'll learn how to deal with it, and it'll make their lives a little better. So that's what I'm doing, give away 100 books right now.
I like it. And I agree with you. I see a lot of people on social media, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of this, and they're under the impression that all they got to do is be flashy and get in front of the camera.
No.
And that's a great opening act, but you still have to have some substance behind that to be successful or to have any kind of a sustainable.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions, and I want to ask. So you're going to be working, or you are working, or you have been working with whether it's artists, authors, speakers, or business people. So are there concepts or that are common no matter what you're doing? In other words, if you want to be successful, like the 7 habits of highly successful people, things like that, regardless of what you're doing, what advice, or do you give the same advice to someone who wants to be a painter as opposed to someone who wants to be a public speaker?
Well, there's some of the same advice that I would give to both of those people. Like the people I have in art classes, they have to be disciplined.
Right.
Yes. So I recommend to them that they paint every day, that they paint at least 30 minutes every single day, and that they come back to me with their questions. It's the same thing with a professional speaker. They need to work on their speech, on their material, on their knowledge every single day in order to have that knowledge and experience. So yes, I think we all need certain habits, and discipline is definitely one of those habits that we need. We also need curiosity. We need to look at things and say, how does that work, and how does that fit in, and how can I do it differently? And we need creativity in all of these things. We need to be creative to create our own pictures, but we also need to be creative to tell our own stories in our own way. And like when I had the modeling school and agency, that was a business, and how was I supposed to run that business, especially at that time? I didn't have a lot of money. I opened the business, and 2 weeks after I opened, it was the first time in the history of Las Vegas that the Las Vegas Strip had a strike, and they turned out every light on the Las Vegas Strip. And so, nobody was going to hire models, and nobody was going to send their kids to modeling school because the money was tight. And so I had to get creative. You have to, if you're going to stay in business, and especially times like right now, you've got to get creative. How are you going to do things differently? How are you going to get people to notice what you're doing? So yes, there's these definite habits and traits and characteristics that all these people need in order to be successful, yes. And I think when we read magazines like my magazine, Choices Magazine, or we read Success Magazine, some of these ones that are telling us, we're going to see that it's the same principles from maybe even 30 years ago, the same principles, but they've changed with the times. And that's the things we have to be.
They've updated themselves.
Yes, and we have to be aware that we need to update. I have people say to me all the time, my goodness, you've been speaking forever. One gentleman introduced me the other day, and he said, she's been speaking longer than I've been alive. Well, yes, I probably have. But you have to change with the times. I can't do the same speech today that I did 35 years ago.
Exactly.
I have to be constantly having new knowledge. I have to study. I have to learn. This last year, I've had the most incredible learning curve. I started doing digital marketing. And so I went to a course, and then the fellow at the course said he had a mastermind group, so I got in the mastermind group. And when I got in the mastermind group, I didn't even know how to share my screen on the computer. I had no idea. And so then they had to teach me all of the things that I needed to know to learn. And now I'm doing my Zoom TV show, and now I'm here with you, and I'm doing all kinds of things online. I've got courses online on several different avenues where people can buy the courses that I teach. And it's exciting. It's exciting to learn these new things. And
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
It's every time I can learn something or add something to my portfolio or my
Oh.
toolbox, it's like pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And let me ask you about creativity.
Uh-huh.
Can creativity be taught, or is that something that just comes natural?
Well, both.
Okay.
Both. Some of us are naturally more aware of our creativity.
Okay.
We're all creative. We've all created whatever life we have to right now, we have created that.
Right.
Whatever we've done, however we've functioned, we've created where we are.
God, that's scary.
It is, isn't it? Sometimes we look at it and we say, because I look back and I think of all the mistakes I've made along
Right.
the way, and of all the things I did that were stupid or whatever. But also I did a few smart things along the way too. So we can't beat ourselves up and say, oh, well, what a mess I am. I've done all this. But we have created our lives. Now, how are we aware of it? I have people come to my art classes and they say, well, I'm not creative. I can't even draw a stick figure. That's a programming.
Right.
We put that in our mind. I can't draw a stick figure. Well, then, of course, you can't. But if you say to yourself, I can draw, I can copy, I can make a difference, because there are different kinds of creativity. There's the original creativity where you and I have an original thought. It comes from woohoo,
Wherever,
who knows
right.
where, into our brain, and we have that creativity. Or there's the creativity where there's this thing somebody's already created and this thing somebody's already created, and we say, oh, what if we put these two things together and we can make it happen this way?
That is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I ended up doing what I'm doing today, is because I've taken little bits and pieces of things that I've seen, and I thought, well, let me put this with this, the radio shows and
Yes.
and the photography and all that stuff kind of just came together, and now it is what it is now. So
Yeah, and so you come up with something new
Right.
and something different.
Yeah.
So that's creativity too. And when I grew up, well, I was so fortunate. My mother was one of the most creative human beings on the face of the earth. And I often wonder where she got her confidence, because she just believed she could do about anything. If I needed a new dress by tomorrow, she would just make it tonight.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I came home from school. I was in high school, and the teacher said we had to have a white dress tomorrow, and it had to be trimmed with red. Everybody had to wear white and red. Well, I didn't have anything white or red. And I came home and said to my mom, I have to have a white dress tomorrow, and it has to be trimmed in red. And she said, okay, but the stores were already closed, and she said, we can't go buy fabric or anything. She took a sheet off the bed, and she cut that sheet up, and she made me the prettiest white dress you've ever seen, put a piece of red ribbon around the waist, got my sister's red high heels out of the closet and put them on me, and I went to school next day with this great new dress. I didn't think that dress was ever going to wear out.
Oh, wow.
Because it was made from a
Yeah,
sheet.
right.
Oh, my God, I wore that dress for years, It was just
That's
amazing.
awesome.
But she did those kinds of things, and when I would come home and I'd say, oh, I just can't do this, she'd say, yes, you can. Draw a line. Just draw a line. If it doesn't work, you erase it. You erase it and you draw another line. That's what you do. And so my whole life has been about try one thing. If it doesn't work, try something else.
Exactly.
Try one thing. That's what she meant by draw a line, because she was an artist.
Right, right.
She always drew. My mom was an aircraft designer during World War II.
No kidding.
Yeah, she was the first female draftswoman in
Wow.
World War II. Yeah, so she was always, like I said, she always believed she could do things,
So that's where you've gotten it from.
I think so.
I mean, that example that you've seen all of your life of a woman who, and not just because she was a woman, but here is an individual who, okay, we can do this.
Yeah, and we're talking back right after World War II.
Right.
You know, I mean, if we needed food, she would grow a garden.
Right.
Or she would pickle vegetables. Or if we needed to have some new clothes, she would find somebody else to sew for and get enough fabric to have an extra dress.
Yeah.
You know, so all my life I saw her do those things. She always felt she could do things. So I always believed you can do, and I always believed,
Sure, because you saw an example of it
yeah.
your whole life, every day.
And I always believed you had to stay future focused. I don't remember my mother ever looking back and saying, oh, that was the way it could have been, or that was so great back when, or that was whatever. It was always on the future. It was always goals. It was always setting a goal, going forward. And my dad was very much that way too. When my mom married my father, she married another person who was like her. He was a goal setter, a salesman who went out. I mean, we're talking after World War II, he was out selling grease and oil to farmers,
For the
for
machinery
their
and yeah, right.
tractors and their tractors and
Right.
that sort of stuff. And he would sit down every week, I remember, because we didn't have Palm Pilots and journals and all that stuff back then. He had an old steno notebook, you know, and he would write his appointments in it, and he'd decide, okay, where he was going to go that week and who he was going to see and how much money he had for gas and how far that gas would take him to a certain place,
Yeah.
you know, to meet with those people, and would this person more likely buy than that person. He always, you know, figured that out ahead of time, and so it taught me about planning. You know, you have to set a goal, and then you kind of plan how to make that goal work. And so that's what I do with my people today, because I see so many young people that nobody has sat down with them and showed them, you know, here's a plan, here's
Right.
how to be successful, here's how to make it work, here's how to go after what you want, here's how to do something differently. And I get a lot of kids that come to me that they want to be professional speakers, and I want them to be professional speakers. And I recently had a young man, he had all the ability. I'm telling you, when he was on stage, he was charismatic, he was good looking, he had everything going for him. And I thought for sure, this guy is going to be a superstar. But you know, he wouldn't learn the material. I said, well, what do you want to teach? And he just wanted to be on stage. He didn't want to offer solutions to
Right.
people. And you've got to have content. You know, people want to watch you on stage. They want to watch you entertain. They want to see what you have to offer. But they want something for themselves
Sure.
out of it. I mean, if we want to hire an entertainer, we're going to go on the strip and we're going to see a comic or a singer or someone. We're not going to hire a speaker. We're going to hire a speaker or a trainer to learn something.
Right, exactly.
To make our business better, to make it. And that's the thing I've always really tried to get into people's heads. If this is where you're going, you've got to have something to offer. You've got to have something to offer. You can't just go out there and say, here I am, look at me, aren't I pretty? You know, because it doesn't work.
I see a lot of people who, to me, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, well, I can go out and talk about anything. You know, I just go make it up as I go along. You know, and I'll sit down and write a couple notes first, and then I'll go, that's okay, but it's still, my experience has been watching these people. They will say something in the first minute or two, and then they spend the next 30 minutes saying the exactly same thing over and over and over again, and not, you know, so okay, so I can watch this for a minute, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
and that's sad because
I always say to them, you know, it's okay for you to do that if you don't want to be paid.
right.
You know, if you want to be a free speaker and just go out and, you know, to some local organization who needs a free speaker to fill in and they'll give you chicken a la king lunch.
Right.
You know, you then go and run your mouth however. But if you want to get repeat business and you want to get hired, you have to give people some substance, something that they can go and they can use. And that's the hard part, is to get that through to people. And like, for instance, I'm moving out of the speaking arena now, the training arena. I've been doing it forever, and I want to do something different. I want to do television. I want to do interviews. So I have these courses that that are proven, that
Yeah.
I've been using, that I've made lots of money with. And I offered them for sale. I said, you know, at a very reasonable price.
Right.
I said, you know, I'll sell you this course, I'll teach you how to use it, and you can go out and do it. Oh, I don't want to pay that much money. I can write my own course. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Fine. Go write your own course. That's good. But if you want something that's already proven, that's already, you know, I've got it for you. And they just, they surprise me sometimes.
It's I think part of that is the younger people, and I have a lot of faith in young people today. I really do. But I think one of the downsides that they have been given free instant gratification for too long. And you know, Google is free. You can go on there and find out all kinds of stuff. But you still have to put in the work. You have to put in the effort. You have to know something. I used to do training sessions for the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We had different programs that we were, you know, using in different cities, and so I went all over the country with. There would usually be 4, 5, or 6 of us
Right.
in different areas of the specifics that we were doing. You know, whether it's finance or whatever, and we were each allocated anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour for our particular aspect of the program. And my trick, and I don't know if it was because I was lazy or whatever, but my trick was I had about 10 minutes of material. In other words, here's how the program works. Here's what you need to do. Here's the basic, blah, 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 blah. And then I spent the rest of the time answering questions from the audience, because they would tell you what they
needed
wanted to know.
Yeah.
And so I found that more effective. For me, it was easier for me. I mean, I can write 10 minutes of material, and that's great. And I knew, the difference is I knew what I was talking about.
Yes,
So
yes.
I knew the material.
Right.
And so, and at the end of every session, every class that we did all over, you know, we'd hand out the questionnaires, you know, what did you think, and
The
blah, 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 blah.
evaluations, yeah.
The evaluation, thank you. And I always got extremely high marks, and people would ask me, well, John, how did you, you know, and I go, I didn't. They did. The people in the audience tell you this is what I want to know.
Yes.
Can you tell me this?
Yes.
And then it would make someone else think of a question. And so, you know, hey, I'm sorry, I'm out of time now. So,
And I would always be prepared with some questions that somebody asked me last time, just in case I got there this time.
Yeah.
And I said questions, and they'd say, and then nobody would have a question, and I'd say, well, you know, last week I was at a place, and they asked this, and then I would answer it. And then after I did a couple of those, then they would
Right.
start to be
Yeah.
a part of it. You
Yeah.
know, it's very important in training, especially, to get people to ask what it is that they need to know, because you want them to go out and put it to use,
Right.
to make it work for them.
I-
And there's a difference between speaking and training, and a lot of people don't realize that.
yeah, and you're right, because that's what we were doing was training. And you know, it's the department had a number of programs that cities and counties and local governments used. They got community development block grant funds to run these programs, and we were supposed to be the experts
Right.
on doing this. So, but yeah, that was training. That wasn't, if I had to get up and just speak, I don't think I'd be very good at it, because I want to be funny.
Yes, well, but that's what you'd want when you're a speaker.
Yeah.
I always say you don't have to be funny, only if you want to be paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's important to be funny. It's important to be entertaining. As a speaker, you want to touch people's emotions.
Okay.
So maybe if you have a sad story, you touch their emotions with your sad story.
Right.
But at the same time, somewhere in there, you want to put some humor, so you don't pull the audience down and make them, you know, really get
Right.
depressed when they hear your sad story.
Well, I have seen a number of your videos of you speaking, and I have one that is my absolute favorite. And I thought this is the perfect way to start out a session, and it's the fun bar.
Yeah.
It's you have this little teeny tiny candy bar, and you hold it up,
it's
and
because the airlines gives you that stupid little thing and they say, here's a fun bar.
Right.
And it's a good opening because wherever I go, I usually fly there.
Right.
And I always say, you know, I got hungry and they gave me this fun bar. And
Right.
it's about this big. And that is not a fun bar. What is a fun bar?
And then you pick out this big candy bar that's about this big, and you go, now this is a fun bar, you know. And I just thought, because you have immediately grabbed the audience.
They love it.
They love it. It's something they can relate to, and that, you know, you have woken them up, so to speak. So I love that little clip, and I've saved that, you know. So anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
That is a fun one because you know, everybody can relate to it.
Yeah.
Everybody can relate to, I got hungry and they gave me one bite and I
Right.
really wanted the whole lot, you know. So it's fun. I have another fun story I like to share. It's about my mother was quite elderly, and my little niece came in one day and she said, "Grandma, how old are you?" And my mother said, "Oh, you know, I'm so old, I just really don't remember." And she says, "Well, Grandma, check in the back of your panties. Mine say 4." Because she thought, because she was 4,
Right.
and her panties said 4, that everybody's panties had an age in it, you know. So, and the audience likes that too,
Yeah.
because audience likes little kids,
Right.
you know. But they don't make the point of what you're trying to teach.
Yeah.
Those are just like little openers
Right.
to get people to relax and to get
Well,
into it.
you have to, people have to like you when you're up on stage. They have to, maybe not necessarily like you, but respect you or be interested in you. So I think if you can make the audience interested in you or interested in what you have to say, you got half the battle done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about
See, I pay attention to all the stuff that you put out
yeah,
there.
you do. The interesting thing about being on stage, professional speaking on stage, is it's a fine line between being entertaining and giving information that
Right.
people can use, and doing it in a way where people like and care about you. I had an example. I was speaking to a group of blind merchants. They were all blind, the whole group. And I was stomping around on stage doing my regular thing, and the light was in my face and I fell off the front of the stage. Just fell
Oh my
right
God.
into the audience. And the blind people heard the cameraman go, you know, as I went whack. And they're all like, "What happened? What happened? What happened?" So I said, "Oh, I fell off the stage." And they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I just fell right off. I don't know. I got to the edge and I stomped around." And I said, "Just a minute, let me get back on the stage." And they're like, "Okay," you know. But it was so cool because afterwards they were so concerned. You know, these
Right.
people were coming up to me and spending time with me, and I spent about 3 days with these people, and what an amazing experience for me to realize how they got around in life and how they coped and how they went through buffet lines at the restaurant and got their food with no help. And here I am, I fully can see, and I fell off the stage, you know. So, I mean, these are wonderful experiences that this kind of a life has brought to me. And I want to share it with the people that are now coming to me and saying, "Can you teach me? Can you help me? Can you?" I had a girl the other day. I do this program called Turn Your Speaking into Cash, and it's a 2-day program.
Turn your speaking into cash?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, and it's a 2-day program, and we're doing it again actually in October. And I take 8 people, you know, eight people who really want to be speakers and really want to. They've got their material together. Now
Right.
they just want to know how to sell themselves and make money.
Right.
And I had this one girl in there, and bless her heart, she's never made any money. She's done a lot of speaking at her church and for women's groups and things, but never made a lot of money. And she was in the group, and she raised her hand, and we were talking about contracts, and she said, "Well, you know, when I negotiate my contract, would it be okay if I just negotiate that they always pick me up in a limousine?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess you could put that in your contract if you like, you know." And a little bit later she said, "Would it be okay if I always ask for a 5-star hotel?" And I said, "Yeah, I think if you want to ask for a 5-star hotel, go right ahead. I don't think anybody's going to hire you with all these
Yeah,
demands. I think it's okay to ask for it,
right.
but you better be really good. And you better have a really good sizzle reel that you can sell yourself with before you
Exactly.
start asking for this stuff. Because this is what superstars get when they've been a superstar for a long time. I said I was speaking 35 years before I had a limo to pick me up. So, yeah, if you want to ask for it, do. But I suggest you start trying to find out what the client needs and what they want.
Yes.
And why don't you see what you can do to cooperate with them and help them in any way possible? And then maybe one day somebody will say, let me send you a limousine.
Well, and doesn't that take away from the amount of cash that they pay you?
Well, I might
In other
think
words,
so.
and I'm just throwing numbers out. If they're going to
Yeah.
pay you $500, okay, so we have a $500 budget to pay you. All right, so now we're going to take off $150 for the limo because we got to pay the limo.
Yeah.
So now you're down to $350. Then
And
the
then you
hotel's
want-
another $200. So yeah, we can pay you $150. Stay in this hotel, and here's the limo. Or take the bus, and we'll give you $500. No.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It sounds kind of silly when you put it that way, but you know there are people who have limited budgets, and I'm
Right.
going to say
Right.
right now, with what's going on, most of the programs that speakers are doing are virtual,
Yeah.
and so these clients are saving a lot of money with travel and with hotels and with your meals and all of these things that speakers demanded for so long. And I'm thinking when we come out the other side of this, there's going to be a lot of these corporations and associations that are going to say, you know, that worked so well, we might just continue doing some of
That's
this.
absolutely correct. And I think that people are realizing that the if there is a positive side to this pandemic, is that we can do a lot with less.
Yes.
And the things that we really need or the things that we really have to do, we're starting to prioritize more. And I know I am. And some of the things that I did before that I thought, well, I don't need to be doing that. You know, why am I doing that? I can do this, you know. So
Yeah, well, this is one of those times when I say, you know, as a person who's looking to be successful, this is one of those times where you say, okay, now I have to deal with change. Now I have to cope with change. Now I need to learn new skills. I need to learn to do things virtually. I need to learn to put my personality across when I'm in a room all by myself.
Right.
And I'm looking into a camera rather than looking at a group of people. How am I going to tell this story and get those people excited about it? So this is one of those times when we have to keep adjusting and learning. And I love it. I think it's really
I do too.
fun.
And it's there's an old saying, and I've worked for a number of, I've been in construction my whole life. And one of my bosses years ago said, well, the problem, or the good thing is we've been doing this like this for 15 years. Now the problem is we've been doing it like this for 15 years. And so we have gotten into a rut.
Yeah.
And we haven't needed to think outside the box or get creative.
Right.
And now people are, I see it almost every day. I see the creativity in people coming out and doing things. I can see what they were doing before and how they have now taken the changes and incorporated those into what they do.
Yeah.
And to me, that's great. I love to see that. And you know, so there is some good here. Most of it's bad, but there is, you know, you need to find those little nuggets of gold wherever you're going. So.
Well, one of the things I've recommended for people during this time when they're supposed to be staying at home, because a lot of my coaching clients say to me, you know, I thought I was going to get so much done, you know, when I'm staying at home, and I'm not getting anything done, and I'm feeling depressed, and I feel overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. And I try to get them to stick to a schedule, to go ahead and make a schedule just like they normally would if they were going out somewhere to work. and stick to that schedule and get up in the morning and put on your clothes and put
Right.
on your makeup.
Get up,
Because,
suit up.
yeah, you can get in the habit of going in there in your pajamas and sitting down at that computer and watching social media for hours, and your life just goes by. And so make a plan and actually say, okay, I'm going to get this done today. And I've actually made a plan where I get all my work done by about 1 o'clock. I make it, this has got to be done by 1 o'clock. Now, if by 1 o'clock I've got it all done, then if I want to look
Exactly.
at social media, or I want to go out by the pool, or I want to go for a walk, then I can do that. And that's good because we want to get out in that sunlight. You know, a lot of us aren't getting out in that
Right.
sunlight. We need about 20 minutes of sunlight a day to keep our endorphins up, to keep our energy up, to get out there and walk and to get that exercise in, because a lot of us aren't going to the gym right now either. So there's, you know, we've got to get on that schedule and say, okay, what am I going to do to keep being positive, to keep staying positive? And it's not easy, especially when you've got people around you that all they want to do is complain and carry on. And there's a lot of them. I was in the post office the other day, and I got in between a fight because one person didn't have her mask pulled up over her nose, and the other person was taking pictures of her, and they were yelling at each other, and this one was saying, "Get out of my space," and I'm in between, and I'm thinking, I just want to mail my stuff. I got my mask on. I just want to mail my stuff and get out of here. But, you know, it's negative out there.
Right.
And we have to try to keep ourselves up, or it's going to be almost chemical. It's like it almost pulls you down. And this is another thing I do in coaching. It's like, yes, I'm coaching people on how to be successful, but I'm also coaching people on how to stay positive, how to keep yourself up, how to do your habits, how to do your schedule, so that you don't get pulled down into all this stuff.
Well, that positivity, I think, is critical, because it is easy. If you've ever done sales, if you've ever worked in retail or anything like that, sales especially, you're going to get the door slammed in your face, the phone hung up on, you know, and you may get 50 no's before you get a yes.
Yes.
And you have to be able to, okay, fine, that's one I don't have to worry about. Now on to the next one, you
Yes.
know. And the same with ourselves. They used to say that the hardest thing for a salesman is to let go of his own doorknob, you know, and leave the house. And
Yeah.
like you were talking about your dad, you know, he spent the time that he was not face to face with someone, he was using positively to make that time that he did spend face to face more valuable.
Exactly.
So he planned his work and work his plan. And that's
Right.
what I always used to like to say, you know, plan your work your plan.
Exactly. And I think he made us who we are, because I was 16 years old when he took me to see Maxwell Maltz. Maxwell Maltz, you know, was an incredible motivational author
Right.
and speaker of our times. And he took me to see Zig Ziglar, and he took me to these motivational rallies where they'd have 15 or 20 motivational speakers. You'd pay $15 for a ticket, and
Right.
there'd be 2,000 people there, and you'd hear one speaker after another after another. And because he was a salesman, he did that to keep himself up,
Sure.
you know, and he read all these positive books. And in fact, that was one of the ways he used to punish us, is if we got out of line and misbehaved, he'd give us one of those books, and we'd have to read it and give him a book report, you know. So it was good
yeah.
because I think that's where my whole life developed into doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach teenagers how to be the best they could be, and then of course Montgomery Ward's hired me to be Wendy Ward, and I was the Wendy Ward director, teaching kids how to walk and stand and sit and do their nails and their skincare and put on little fashion shows and things. And then I opened Universal Models
Cool.
and had it for 21 years, and taught girls and young women and then business women how to look and act and behave and go forward. And then men started coming in and saying, we want to go into these classes too. So we started adding boys and men into the program, and it was fabulous. And so my whole life has just been about doing this and becoming a speaker and standing on stage and telling people how to be the best they can be. And so I think that makes me feel like I have to be the best I can be. Because if I can't be the best I can be, how can I tell you to be the
They'll
best?
pick up on it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
People can tell, and I tell the show hosts that come in here, and when they're doing their shows, it's important that you have fun, because if you are having fun, that's infectious. The people watching you
Yes.
are going to have fun, and if you're sitting here and blah, 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 that's what your audience is going to be. So have fun.
And it's the same thing about business. If you own a business and you're excited about your business,
Yes.
and you're telling people about your business and you're excited, they're going to get excited. But if you're not excited about your business, they're not going to get excited about your business. Your product, whatever
Yeah.
you're selling.
I always have to apologize after, because I have people come in, they're interested in what we're doing and they want to do it, and that's all they have to do. Then I'm off, because I am excited. I love what I'm doing. I'm doing this because I want to, and I enjoy it. It's good therapy, and I have fun doing it. And I get carried away sometimes, and I have to say.
I always love coming here and working with you, because no matter what we do, no matter what show we put together, whether it was book reviews or art shows or whatever we put together, you were always enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
You always got really excited about it, and you'd say, well, let's try this or let's do that, and it was fun. It wasn't like some TV stations.
Sit here, say that,
Yeah.
read this card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I fell into that trap early on, that be regimented. This is the way it's supposed to be. You got to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do that. And I discovered after a little while, no, you don't. I want the people that come in here that when they leave, they go, wow, that was really fun. That was cool. I want to do that again.
Yeah.
And so I can't give them that experience if I don't have that experience.
Exactly.
If I don't look forward to coming in here, to doing the shows, to just, whether I'm sitting up here in front of the camera or whether I'm behind the camera. And I've been extremely fortunate in that how much I've been able to learn by paying attention to. I know when we've done your training sessions, some of your training sessions, I mean, to me that was valuable because I was doing this, but I was also, I was learning what you had to teach. And I have a number of clients, if you want to call them that have given me the same experience. I had one show who is a therapist. And so every week I feel like, wow, I just had an hour therapy session, because and it's,
I need that.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's great. So this is kind of a new old thing for you. What
Well,
you're doing now. It's you have taken that to what we were talking about,
to a new level.
to a new level, right?
Yeah, I've been coaching people for years.
Right.
Even back when I was Wendy Ward, or when I had the finishing school and the model agency and all that, I was teaching people how to be the best they could be. I was helping them set goals. I was helping them become. And one of the reasons I wrote the book is because a lot of the kids that I had back then, now I'm talking in the 1980s, I was doing that. And those kids have grown up now.
Yeah.
And they're adults here in Vegas, and some of them are very successful. And I feel like I had a lot to do with that. And they write me notes and letters and tell me I did have a lot to do with that. But what's fun is I'll go out to lunch with someone that I knew back when, and then they'll say, my son is 22 now, or my daughter is 18 now, and they never had the opportunity to study like I did with you. There's not a school where I can send them to.
Right.
There's not a place where I can teach them to be successful. So what did they do? So I decided, okay, write the book.
Right.
Because if they've got a daughter that's 17 or 18 or 20 or 21 that's feeling like she's not enough, well then it's there. It's all the things I was teaching them in finishing school. There's no skincare and makeup in it. It's about how to deal with people and how to be more assertive and how to network and how to be successful and how to dress to get people to notice you. And there's even a spiritual section.
That's one of the lessons that I picked up from you. and you in the book you were talking about wardrobe and dressing for whatever it is that you're doing and how to build that wardrobe. You know, it's like, okay, I don't have a lot of money, so I can go out and I can buy this blouse and this skirt or these pair of slacks or this. And then the next time I'll go out and I'll buy this thing because it will go with this.
Yes.
And then you can mix and match. So you buy 2 or 3 of this and 2 or 3 of that. And now you've got like 15 outfits.
Right.
And
you can go anywhere in the world for 2 weeks.
Right.
And be appropriately dressed for any occasion.
Right.
Because you've got all the right pieces.
And so whenever, in fact, that's why I bought this shirt.
I like that shirt.
Thank you. And it was just, I thought, I just saw it and it was like, okay, everybody, $9. I paid $9 for this shirt, okay? And it was like, okay, well, that will look really good on camera. You know, it's bright and it stands out and it's like, wow, $9, that's great.
And you know, it's not about what it costs. It's when you
Well,
look
it is
at,
for me.
well, when you look at clothing, and I talk about this in the book, clothing is made certain ways. And
Right.
you can tell by where the seams come together, you can tell by the buttons or whatever. And maybe if something is more inexpensive, but the buttons are like tacky, you
Right.
can take the buttons off and put new buttons
That-
on.
that's
you
exactly
know?
right.
And I have to admit, I buy on Poshmark. Are you familiar with that? It's
No.
an online secondhand store. And
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I actually buy and sell on Poshmark because my digital marketing people, they said, we want to brand you with wearing red clothing, wear red clothing. Well, I go out to the stores and I couldn't find. And so I go on Poshmark and I put in red blouses, the size I want, whatever. And boom, they pop up, you know.
That's
and I
cool.
go, oh, and so then I buy them and they come. And 2 or 3 of them may be really nice, $7, $8 a piece.
Right.
And a couple aren't so good. Well, I put them back on Poshmark and sell them, and you know. So it's been.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, it's fun, and I've been telling my girlfriends, and they're like, "I didn't know about that." And I said, "Well, go online and look and see, because, like high heel shoes, for instance.
Right.
I mean, I wore heels 4 inches all my life, right? And now I hurt my knee, and I had to have stem cell in the knee and whatever. I can't wear those 4-inch heels.
Right.
I just put them all on Poshmark, and you know, get money. It's like people go, oh, this is good. You know, this is a size you can't normally just buy out there. And these are brand new shoes. I think I'll take them, and they get a good price, and I've got them out of my world. You know,
Imelda Marcos could have made a fortune, huh?
Yes, she could have. Oh, I'm not far behind, I don't think.
For all of you youngsters out there, Imelda Marcos was the wife of the leader of the Philippines way back when.
And what did she have? 2,000 pairs of shoes?
She had something like 2,000 pairs of shoes. So
yeah.
hey, and at $10 a pop, yeah, that's not bad, right?
No, you could do pretty well.
Yeah.
And I'm doing pretty well right now with my little venture. But you see, it's
You were able to buy 2 houses with just from selling your shoes, right?
Just
No, I'm
about.
not.
But I have to tell you, the world has changed.
Yeah.
And we have to do things differently than we did before. We don't have to, but it's fun.
No, we don't have to.
Yeah.
And we can be, you know, sitting in the rocking chair at home and just binge watching TV or
Yeah.
something. But
And you know, I'm you didn't ask me, but I'm getting ready to do this new television show. And,
I was going to ask you.
and it's called Life Choices, and it's going to be on Roku.
Right.
And I'm really excited about it because it's on the Golden TV network, which is the
Golden
network.
Network TV.
Okay, Golden Network
Golden Network TV,
You
yes.
got it right. I got it wrong, but I always say Golden TV Network, but it's Golden Network TV.
Right. On Roku.
.com. Okay. Anyway, I'm doing this TV show on Golden Network TV, and it's what's cool about Golden Network TV is it's for people over 50. I mean, people under 50 can watch it too, but
Right.
it's for people over 50. And I think this is so cool because I know a lot of people over 50 that are saying, I don't know what to do with my life. And I'm way over 50, and there's so much to do. I mean, it's like, I don't know how to get it all done every day.
Right.
So how can they sit around and go, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do.
I had that conversation with Tema about, you know, okay, I fit into that category, but I am not my dad's or my grandfather's senior citizen.
Yeah.
You know, and people our age today, it's an entirely different world than it was for our parents or grandparents.
Oh.
I mean, we're more active, we're more aware, we're more involved, and and she realizes that, and I think she's got some old stuff up there, like Jack Benny and Red Skelton and some of those TV shows
Oh, they were
that we grew
wonderful.
up on. In
Yeah.
fact, she has, for those of you who know Betty White, she has Betty White's first television show,
Oh,
which I
wow.
believe was called Life with Elizabeth. And Betty White was maybe 18, 19, 20 years old back then. And watching that, I mean, I just vaguely remember it when I was a kid. But
Oh,
Betty
we
White,
were never that young. They must
I
have,
know.
that must have been reruns.
My grandfather told me about it. My Betty White today is still the Betty White of 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And that spark that she has today, that she had back then, she still has today. And I love the hell out of her. She is a funny, funny woman. And I get a kick out of seeing whatever she's doing at the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
enough about
And I
Betty
think
White.
they have the whole Groucho Marx series on
They
there
have
too.
You Bet
and-
Your Life. Yeah.
That was so cool. We watched that when I was a kid. You know, we
Do you know how many famous people appeared on Groucho Marx? Do you know that Phyllis Diller's first TV appearance was on Groucho Marx's show?
oh, I didn't know that.
And it's just amazing that that's, you know, you could see they were just getting started in,
Wow.
you know, and so yeah, it's a great, you can just go to Roku, and the channel is Golden Network TV. You will not be disappointed. It was a lot more than I expected.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, it
and they
is.
are building content. In fact, we are going to be providing them content, so you'll be able to see our stuff there as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
it is
yeah.
pretty cool.
So,
Yeah.
Judy, we're kind of running out of time, and that's what happens here. I have people come in and say, "Oh, I can't spend an hour. I don't care," and then it's like, "It's over already." What?
I
So,
know. I had so
is there-
much more to say.
I know, but what would you like to, what message do you want to leave our audience with? Your contact info and what would you
Well, a
like to
couple
make sure that we
things.
cover? I mean, we don't have to stop right now, but I
Yeah.
want to make sure that we cover
A
everything that you
couple
needed to
things.
cover today.
I'd like to say that if anyone wants a copy of the book, You're More Than Enough, Every Woman's Guide to Purpose, Passion, and Power, I just asked them to pay the shipping and handling because it's a lot for
I
me to be
understand.
mailing them all out for free. And so they just need to go to JudiMoreo.com and let me know they'd like to have the book.
And that's Judi, and it's Moreo, like the cookie, only with an M.
Yes.
Moreo.
JudiMoreo.com.
There you go.
And, you know, they can write me, Judi at JudiMoreo.com,
Okay.
and get the book. And I'd be more than happy to send it to anyone who feels like they could use just a little bit of upliftment or more confidence or more happiness. And, you know, it's a good gift if someone wanted to give it to their daughter or their granddaughter.
There's
or,
some great jewels in that book.
Yeah.
There really is. And I, when we did the training session, I was kind of thinking, God, this is going to be boring. And it wasn't. It was interesting. I love the way that you wrote it. You know, the book moves. It's not. And there's personal stories in there that you have used to illustrate a point. So yeah, I enjoyed reading it too, because I did
Thank
read it
you.
after we did the training
Yeah.
sessions.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. So I would very much like for people to get a copy of the book. If they're looking for a mentor or a coach, I'm available. My coaching services are available. I teach art on Wednesdays and Saturdays. If people are looking for art classes, they can contact Desert Art on Green Valley Parkway
Right.
and Sunset, and I'll be doing some more art classes over there. As you know,
I love the elephant, by the way.
Oh, thank you. The
You-
Elephants won a few awards.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. And so I'm just, when we said I was going to go into coaching, it was like people said, well, Judy, you can coach on so many things. Why don't you just pick one? But you know what? I'm a certified creativity coach. I'm a licensed hypnotherapist.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I have lots of credentials in a lot of different areas. But most of all, I just want to help people be as successful as they want to be, and I want them to believe in themselves. It bothers me to hear people say, "I'm just not enough."
Yeah.
Because they are enough, and I know how to help them believe that. I always say I'm not the greatest art teacher in the world, but I can make people believe they can paint, and so they turn out really great paintings. And I think it's the same way with anything. I can make them believe they can speak. I can make them believe they can write a book. I can make them believe that they can be a good business person, and I can show them the way. I can help them. Those are the things that I do as being the ultimate achievement coach, and I love that title.
I do too.
And it's really been a fun journey for me. But you have some.
If you can make people believe in themselves, then that's 99.9% of the battle,
Yes, it is.
I think.
Yes,
So,
it is.
because if you believe in yourself, and I mean really believe in yourself, not just saying, I'm the greatest, but if you believe in yourself, there's almost nothing that you can't accomplish.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on forever, but we do have to wrap this up here pretty quick, and
Yes.
I would just like to, if you'll give me a chance to just plug something here real quick.
I know you have something coming up.
I
You have a book signing.
This is every Saturday over at Barnes & Noble's on Rainbow and Lake Mead. I'll be doing a book signing.
Yeah, I understand you're doing a book signing. Now, tell me about this book.
Well, if you buy any book at Borders, I have a little table set up. You bring it over, and I will sign it. Doesn't matter what it is, just any kind of book at all. And I'll sign the book, and that's it.
Well, I have a better idea. Why don't they buy my book and bring it over, and we'll
Okay.
both sign it?
Yeah, do that. I'll sign it. We'll both sign it. So, anyway, Judy, thank you again for coming in. And I'd shake hands or give you a hug, but we're still maintaining this 6-foot distance because we're smarter than the average bear. So, thank you again, Judy.
Thank you. It's been
I'll
my
make sure that we
pleasure.
got all of your contact info here. And thank you again, everybody. We really, really do appreciate all of our viewers, and thank you for the comments and the feedback that we get. Tell us when we're doing good and when we're not. We do pay attention to it. The only thing we don't pay attention to is when you send the cards and letters about getting rid of my show, because I own the station, so you can just give that up. And remember, if you're going to do it with Stiles. Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice work, John.